What's up, guys? So I hope you enjoyed my coilover install video. I still have a couple videos that I want to make for you guys, going over the damping settings and adjusting that, as well as the before and after. Now, I had Fortune Auto 500s on before, but they were completely shot and worn out. So I already filmed that driving on rough roads, and I have a second half of that video driving on rough roads with my new suspension, which I'm going to make for you guys. However, if you follow me on social media at Hawkeye STI Guy, you already know my engine is not in a good mood right now. Last week it started making a really bad knocking sound. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I took it down to 6-star service. They looked it over and they said it's definitely something internal in the bottom end, but they can't say exactly specifically what it would be without tearing into it, and that's when you'll find out the full extent of the damage. In any case, it really doesn't matter what it is because my engine is getting rebuilt. So if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns about building an engine or replacing an engine, leave them in the comments down below for this video and I'll try to address it, because I am going to make a video series about the rebuild and I want to make that as informative as I can, and I want to gear it towards you guys. So this weekend is the APX Boston meet and I'm going to be driving up there. It's about 10 hours for me. And I was booked for all this. I had my hotel and my ticket long before I was having any issues with my car. So fortunately, I am able to use my mom's WRX. Sometimes people think that I own both cars. I do not. That is my mother's. Yes, it's a stick. And yes, that's really awesome. But in this video specifically, I wanted to cover how I get ready for a road trip. Things to check over on your car, as well as things to pack that you might need on the road. So that's what this video is going to be. I hope it's informative for you guys, and I'm going to go over everything that I need done on the car first, or at least things to check over. So the first thing that I check before I head out on a long road trip is under the hood. You should check for any leaking fluids. Obviously, you shouldn't have any fluids leaking under your car or on the engine. You want to make sure that all your fluids are at the proper levels. And you also want to make sure that your oil obviously is at the proper level, but also that you're not going to be due for an oil change until after you get back. So I don't remember exactly when the last oil change was on this car, but I think it has about 2,600 miles on it or so. So it's going to be fine going to Boston and back. It is synthetic oil. Obviously, if you're running conventional, it's not going to last quite as long, but you want to make sure that you have enough oil and that you're not going to have to worry about an oil change when you're halfway to your destination. So yeah, under the hood, make sure all your fluids are good, nothing's leaking, stuff like that. So the next thing that I always check is my tires. I make sure that the tread depth is good to go, and I also make sure that they have enough tire pressure. So these are obviously my mom's tires, and she's been running around very busy lately, and she hasn't had a chance to get the snow tires switched over. So I'm gonna get that taken care of today, because driving up to Boston on snow tires in May is not a good idea. I do have these new tires, actually new used tires. These are Hankook, I believe, Ventus V12 Evo 2s. I purchased these used. The owner just got rid of his WRX, so I picked these up for $200 for all four. So they're in good condition. I'm gonna get those thrown on today. And the last thing that I always check with my car is the trunk. Now, this isn't my car, so the trunk is empty right now, but I'm gonna throw more things in. I don't have time to do that on camera because I am busy. I'm running around. I still need to get those tires mounted, and I still need to pack, and I'm leaving tomorrow. But I always make sure that I have the necessary things that I might possibly need in my trunk. That includes a toolkit. I usually have ratchets, a couple wrenches and some screwdrivers, stuff like that. Zip ties, always have zip ties in case for whatever reason something comes loose. Zip ties have saved me a handful of times or more. I also have a medical kit. This I do have with me. It's always a good idea to have a medical kit, not only for yourself, but for somebody else. As you travel, it's more likely that you're going to come across an accident or something like that, and you might need to help somebody. So a medical kit is a good idea to have. Your spare tire should always be good to go and at the correct pressure. A lot of people forget to put air in their spare tire, and when they need it, it is flat. You should also have jumper cables. I like to have some rope, a blanket, a tow strap in my car. I don't have one for this car. And lastly, I like to have some Fix-A-Flat. Now, I'm not going to use that in this car because it has TPMS sensors, and sometimes that stuff pisses them off. But in my STI, I always carry at least 1 or 2 cans of Slime or Fix-A-Flat, and that has helped. Usually I get a slow leak, and it's enough to stop that. So that's all I have for my car prep. Everything else will be what kind of snacks and goodies that I have next to me on the road. So I just got back from having the new tires put on. I need to put the snow tires in the garage, but while I was there, it started pouring down rain, and now it's drizzling, and that reminded me of something I forgot to mention. You obviously want to make sure that you have new wipers. So you want to have new wipers. They shouldn't be worn out, and if you maintain your car, that's obvious that's going to happen, and it should already be taken care of. The second thing is your fuel. You obviously want to make sure that you top off your tank before you leave. I'll do that tomorrow morning before I head out. I usually stop for gas and just get a bite to eat at like McDonald's or somewhere quick so that I could eat on the road and I'm not driving all day on an empty stomach. But those are 2 things that I forgot to mention earlier. And if you guys think of anything else, post them in the comments down below. So here are some things that I always have with me on a road trip. First of all, I always take plenty of quarters. Being on the East Coast, there's a lot of times that I have to take toll roads, and a lot of times it's expensive, and you won't know until you get there. And there's nothing worse than getting stuck on a road trying to pay a toll and you don't have any change. So I always have a ton of quarters with me. As far as food and snacks and drinks, I usually travel light. I'll usually stop at, say, McDonald's or somewhere like that, or Subway, so I'll have that sandwich and I could snack on that while I'm driving. I do like Pringles because they are easier to manage when you're driving than a normal bag of chips. I actually just got my order here from Amazon Prime Pantry, and I have a package of Chewy bars. Looks like it got a little bit smushed, but that's perfectly okay. And I got some Perky Jerky. And I have a case of Smart Water, so I always like to have plenty of water. Sugary drinks are good. You know, having a Monster, an energy drink, stuff like that is good, but you need to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water when you're driving. Otherwise, you could get dehydrated, and it makes you miserable. And I think that's about it for this Amazon Prime Pantry order. But I always like finger foods, you know, things that are easy to manage when you're driving. Think about that. You don't want to be having something really messy or, you know, that's going to get all over the place. I also like to have combos, Gardettos, and Chex Mix, things like that, things that aren't too messy to eat, and things that are fairly manageable. I do always rock bottled water, so I don't like cans. Sometimes I will have a canned energy drink because that's how they come, but I do prefer bottles if you can handle it, because otherwise cans are more likely to spill and make a mess, and they're much more difficult to deal with when you're driving. Alright guys, so I'm going to close out this video here. That is basically the things that I check whenever I'm prepping for a road trip. I always check, double check, and triple check everything before I go so that I don't have any issues while I'm on the road. So I would love to hear what you guys do to get ready for your road trips, and if you have any other hints, tips, or suggestions, that would be greatly appreciated. Just leave them in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will be making more videos while I'm in Boston. I'll show you guys what APEX is all about, so for those of you who cannot make it, I'll try to get you some coverage of that. We'll be hanging out with a lot of other YouTube friends, which I'm very excited about. So I'm going to close this out now and say thank you for watching. I definitely appreciate your support, and I'll catch you guys next time.